Imagine this for a moment. What if one of the most misunderstood verses in the entire Bible was actually a quantum law of wealth, a prosperity boomerang, a financial multiplier, a code so old, yet so mathematically precise that once you activate it, what you send out doesn't just return, it returns multiplied. Ecclesiastes 11:1 says, "Cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days." Most people think this is poetic, symbolic, or just random advice. But what if it's actually one of the Bible's most powerful quantum wealth laws? Today, I'm going to show you why Ecclesiastes 11:1 is not only practical, it's a spiritual technology that uses the same principles found in quantum physics, energetic reciprocity, and biblical abundance. And more importantly, how this ancient verse explains why what you release comes back 100 times stronger. Before we go deeper, if this already sparks something inside you, take a second to like this video so it reaches more people who are waking up to the truth about biblical abundance. And if you're new here, subscribe for more quantum faith teachings that blend scripture with the mechanics of the universe. Let's begin. There is a reason Ecclesiastes is one of the most mystical books in the Bible. It's observational, philosophical, and it hides deep spiritual codes behind simple phrases. So when Solomon says, "Cast your bread upon the waters," he's not giving you a cute metaphor about generosity. He's teaching you a law. Think about bread. In ancient times, bread meant your livelihood, your work, your energy, your substance, your resources. Bread represents what you have in your hands, what you consider valuable. Now think about waters. Moving waters, flowing waters, waters that carry things away. In nearly every spiritual tradition, water symbolizes the quantum field, the invisible realm, the place where what you release doesn't disappear, it circulates. So when Scripture tells you to cast your bread upon the waters, it's telling you, release into the field what you want multiplied. Send out the frequency you want coming back. Let what you have be set in motion. Because nothing that is set in motion in the spiritual realm returns empty. This is not guesswork. This is not poetry. This is a formula. And Solomon confirms it. For you will find it after many days. Not you might. Not maybe. You will. He is describing a law of return. If you've studied quantum mechanics, you know that energy sent out into a field interacts, magnifies, and returns in a new form. Spiritually, this is called the law of sowing and reaping. Psychologically, it's pattern repetition. Economically, it's compounding. Quantumly, it's wave interference. Biblically, it's Ecclesiastes 11:1. Now here's the powerful part that most Christians have missed. Scripture doesn't say throw your bread in a box. It doesn't say hold onto your bread and wait for a miracle. It says cast. It literally means to send outward with intention. That is a spiritual action, a frequency release, a conscious seed. This is why finances stagnate for so many believers. They keep praying for a blessing while holding on so tightly to the little they have that nothing can circulate. Nothing can move. Nothing can return because nothing was ever set in motion. You can't expect a boomerang to come back if you never threw it. Let me tell you a story. A woman once told me she was praying for financial breakthrough, but everything in her life felt stuck. Her income, her opportunities, her energy, her motivation. She was praying, fasting, repeating affirmations, reading scriptures, but no movement. Then one day she came across Ecclesiastes 11:1, not as poetry, but as a directive. She realized she had been waiting for God to move, while she herself was frozen. She wasn't casting anything. She wasn't putting energy into circulation. She wasn't sowing, investing, giving, or acting. So she did something small. She started a project she'd been putting off. She gave someone a resource they needed. She shared knowledge freely. She put motion into the field. Within weeks, opportunities showed up that were completely disproportionate to the tiny actions she had taken. Why? Because the moment she cast something outward, the quantum boomerang began its journey back. Whatever you withhold dies in your hands. Whatever you release enters the realm where return becomes inevitable. Now I want to give you a deeper layer, because Ecclesiastes 11:1 is actually tied to the structure of the Hebrew language. The phrase "cast your bread" uses a verb that implies continuous action, not a one-time event. It's describing a lifestyle of sending out value, frequency, faith, and generosity. This is the secret behind all biblical wealth. Circulation creates multiplication. This is a law even secular business experts understand. The companies that create value, give value, release value, grow. The ones that hoard shrink. The same is true spiritually. When you cast inspiration, you receive inspiration. When you cast generosity, you receive generosity. When you cast skill, you receive opportunity. When you cast financial seeds, you receive financial return. But here's the nuance. It doesn't always come back through the same channel you sent it, which is why so many people miss their blessings. Bread cast on water doesn't float back to you in the same shape. Water transforms it. It returns differently. A seed doesn't return as a seed. It returns as fruit. An idea doesn't return as an idea. It returns as a door opening. A kindness doesn't return as a thank you. It returns as favor in unexpected places. This is the part of biblical prosperity most people don't understand. They give in one direction and expect the return to come from the same place. But God doesn't need to use the same channel. He uses any channel available. That's why Solomon adds later in the chapter, "In the morning sow your seed, and in the evening do not let your hands be idle, for you do not know which will prosper." He's teaching you not to predict the channel, only to trust the law. And this is where quantum physics actually confirms scripture. In quantum mechanics, the return path of energy cannot be precisely predicted. You know the energy will return. You just don't know how. It returns through the path of least resistance. Spiritually, that means your blessing returns through the nearest available open door. The door that isn't blocked by fear, pride, or limitation. The door your heart allows. Let me ask you something. What if the abundance you've been praying for is already in motion, already cast, already returning, but it can't reach you because the door isn't open? Sometimes the field already responded to your faith, but you haven't created the space to receive. This is why ministers, entrepreneurs, creators, and believers who consistently cast their bread, their ideas, their effort, their value, see consistent overflow. They stay in motion. And motion is magnetic. I want you to notice something else. The verse says you will find it after many days. This is divine timing. It's not telling you to wait indefinitely. It's telling you that spiritual seeds grow according to cycles. Just like waves in the ocean return to the shore. Just like the seasons follow each other without fail. Just like energy in the quantum field must return to equilibrium. The return is guaranteed, but the timing is based on the nature of what you've released. This leads to a crucial teaching for your financial life. If what you release is small, fearful, hesitant, or inconsistent, the return will be the same. But if what you release is intentional, bold, consistent, and faith-charged, the return becomes exponential. This is why some people give endlessly but see nothing. They're not casting, they're sacrificing. Their giving is rooted in fear, not faith. Obligation, not expectation. They sow without believing anything will actually come back. But Ecclesiastes 11:1 is not about religious sacrifice, it is about quantum faith. It's about sending out a signal into the field that declares, I expect return. I expect multiplication. I expect overflow. I expect to find what I have cast. If this teaching is resonating with you, drop a comment. I choose to cast in faith. Your engagement actually tells the algorithm to send this message to more people waking up to quantum scripture. Now, I want to make this practical. Because you may be asking, what does casting bread actually look like in real life? It looks like starting the business even if the first step is small, posting the idea even if you have 2 followers, applying for the opportunity even if you doubt you're qualified, giving knowledge freely, giving kindness, giving financially when led, investing in your growth, sharing your gifts, taking risks that align with your calling, releasing your talent into the world. Bread is anything valuable you hold, and casting is anything that puts that value into circulation. One of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming casting means losing. But no farmer who plants a seed thinks he's losing it. He knows it's being transformed. You do not lose what you release into the quantum field. You multiply it. This is why the verse doesn't say you'll receive it. It says you'll find it. Meaning, the return already exists. You're simply arriving at the moment where it intersects with your life. Now, I want to share something rarely taught in Christian circles. Ecclesiastes 11:1 is a prosperity code that bypasses linear logic. It's not about earning, not about deserving, not about working harder. It's about alignment with a law of return built into creation. Think of a boomerang. If you throw it right, if the angle, intention, force, and direction align, it doesn't just return. It returns with speed. It returns with force. It returns amplified. God built multiplication into anything released in faith. The problem is most people never throw. They analyze. They hesitate. They hold. They freeze. And they wonder why nothing ever comes back. You can't harvest what you never sent out. If you want a quantum shift in your finances, your opportunities, your relationships, and your calling, you must cast. That is the Bible's formula. That is the quantum formula. That is the prosperity formula. And now that you know this law, you can't go back to thinking your actions don't matter. Everything you do sends a signal into the field. Every intention, every thought, every seed, every act of value, every leap of faith, none of it is lost. None of it disappears. All of it circulates. All of it returns. Before we finish, share this video with someone who is stepping into their next level of faith. It helps the channel, but more importantly, it awakens people to biblical abundance that has been ignored for generations. So here's your final takeaway. Ecclesiastes 11:1 isn't random advice. It's the law of quantum reciprocity. Release what you want multiplied. Cast what you want returned. And watch the boomerang of blessing find you. You don't need to chase abundance. You need to activate the law that guarantees it. Your seeds move in the unseen, but your harvest always returns in the visible. Now go cast your bread and expect the return.